For years, the science of the past has been telling us that the brain and the body are two separate entities, related but totally independent and unaffected by each other. The science of the future seems to disagree. I, for one, believe that science is always moving, and I would rather move forward than backwards. Recent studies and experiments, very extensive studies and experiments from recent years like 2018, 2016, 2011 are proving that the brain, that the psychological and the physiological are really as related as the stars and the night sky. So I'm Jordan Worley, and I have a story to tell. But you guys know me, man. I'm not a super smart guy. I'm not a genius. So I interviewed a genius, and I just told him that I'm doing a research project about the psychological effects of exercise, and that was all I told him, and I just let him go. I was like, tell me whatever you want to tell me, and you can tell me nothing if you want to. But he gave me some good footage, and I'm just going to show you guys that right now. So yeah, you don't have to take it from me. Take it from someone smarter than me.
Hi, I'm Lamar Sims. I'm a certified fitness instructor. I teach boot camp. I teach adult gymnastic strength, and I've been engaged in that for approximately 20 years. And one of the things that people talk about and why they enjoy fitness is because it not only has physiological effects in terms of helping your body feel better, but depending on the kinds of workout that you're doing, it can have both emotional and mental impact. And part of that is what is referred to as an endorphin release. And basically just a release of chemical in your brain that makes you feel better. And it can be both a short time and ultimately a longer time. The endorphin is a fairly short time release, but one of the other impacts of physical fitness is making you feel better about yourself and seeing changes in your body that will also make you feel better about yourself over the long time, and that will impact your brain. So I heartily encourage people to engage in some kind of physical exercise, whether it be walking 5 times a week for 30 minutes to something more intense.
Okay, so there you have it. Endorphins. The brain releases chemicals when you exercise that make you feel better and make you happy. Now, endorphins are a funny thing. They're actually chemically and molecularly structured identically, or almost identically, to that of morphine. Which is funny. I think it's the other way around, actually. Morphine was synthetically manufactured and designed to copycat the effects of an endorphin. And there's certain kinds of endorphins, dopamine, obviously, and then there's serotonin and oxytocin. But all of these different things are produced by the brain to make you feel better and to have a positive side effect. And they're almost addictive, and that's why you have these things like runner's high, heavy metal lifting, where you get that shot when you're exercising, and you almost go kind of numb and you just feel good, have that positive mental state when and after you're exercising. And like Lamar said, it's a fairly short-term thing, so you can get it pretty quickly. But what else happens in the brain when you exercise? Well, I did some looking around. I went on the internet and did some searches, and I found some stuff. I found a lot of stuff. Be careful. The internet is a dangerous place. Be careful, kids. But I found an article on New York Times. I think it's a New York Times blog or something. But it was written by Gretchen Reynolds in the year 2011. You can look it up if you want. But it's called How Exercise Benefits the Brain. And it's basically a commentary on an experiment that some scientists in Ireland did where they had two groups of college students. I guess they're Irish college students, so little leprechauns in college. And they had a control group and a experimental group, basic experiment setup. And the control group and the other group, they both took a brain teaser test, and they scored, pretty typical leprechaun intelligence. Not bad, not terrible, not Einstein either. But then they took the experiment group and put them through a pretty kick-butt cycling workout, so some intense cardio. And then they had both groups take the test again. And the team that had gone through the workout outscored the control group exponentially. It was significant. You can look it up if you want to see the numbers. And then what they did, which I thought was interesting, is they took blood samples of both groups after the workout. Sorry about the radio in the car. I hope you guys can hear me. But they took blood samples, and they found that the group of leprechauns that had done the workout had significantly higher levels of a protein in their bloodstream that's produced by the brain called brain-derived neurotrophic factor. I know, it took me like a month just to learn how to pronounce and memorize it. But here's the deal. This BDNF, for short, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, is basically miracle grow for your brain. It's pretty crazy. It's like Scott's weed and feed for your brain. But here's the deal. It actually encourages connections between neurons, and it promotes the growth of new neurons. So now we have all kinds of new possibilities opening up, where we have cures for maybe like brain damage or brain injuries. And we have just this whole nother sphere of influence that we can have for exercise therapy, and I think it's pretty awesome. So BDNF helps your brain function, and this, back to the experiment, this group of college students, I'm going to stop saying leprechauns, I hope I didn't offend anybody, but this group of Irish college students that had done the workout had a significantly higher level of BDNF in their brain, and they had significantly higher scores on their cognitive function test than the group that had no workout. So there's another article written in 2016, I can't remember what it's called. Well, I can't remember who wrote it. The title is Can Exercise Cure Depression? And it was basically sort of a biography of this young lady who was overweight and depressed. Maybe she was depressed because she was overweight. I'm not sure what the exact cause and symptomology was. Bottom line is, she was depressed and unhealthy. And she actually got into exercise because of her mom. So her mom wanted to encourage a healthier lifestyle, so she got her into exercise, got them both a gym membership, and they started working out together. And she got hooked. And she started going to the gym, and she started seeing changes in her body, and she started getting that increased release of endorphins in her brain, and she started having higher cognitive function, and she started to have a more positive outlook on herself. Like I said, she saw her body change. She was a happier person, she was a smarter person. And by the end of the day, she went back to her psychiatrist or her practitioner, and the practitioner told her that she was not having symptoms of depression anymore. So, just goes to just goes to say that exercise has so many more benefits than just the physiological. And the brain and the body are so much more connected than just being a brain on top of a body. And what I'm trying to say is you can affect the way that your brain thinks with what your body does. If you're having problems with your brain, maybe you're having problems with your body. If you're having problems with your body, maybe you're having problems with your brain. And I think this information can really help someone change their life. If you're having symptoms of depression, if you're overweight, maybe you're having symptoms of depression. depression because you're overweight, or you have some kind of brain abnormality or functioning issue, I just really encourage you to try exercise. Just give it a try. Nothing happens immediately, so give it a little while. Oh crap, I hope I don't die. So give it a little while, but I can almost guarantee you will see some sort of positive side effect, positive benefit. My name is Jordan. That's my story. Thank you for watching. So, just goes so.